Hey, what's up, everybody? DFS Rico coming at you with my picks and insight for this NBA six-game slate on Wednesday, December 30th. We have a six-gamer. Um, Last night's slate didn't go too well. I mean, most of the picks went good other than the Dragic one. He only played like 10 minutes, and then they got blown out by like 40 points. So hopefully we could bounce back from that. Should be able to bounce back. I feel good about this slate. Um, but before I get into it, if you could like, comment, subscribe, I really do appreciate it. It doesn't take much. Just like it. Just subscribe. I will be here all NBA season trying to post a video every single day. And then I do have a Discord in the description. Make sure you get into that because if news does break out about guys being benched or anything, I will try to be on there as quick as I can and let you guys know who I'm pivoting over to from certain players, which did happen today actually. But let's get to it. So before I get started, we do have that I do want to mention is two teams on the back-to-backs. That's something I've been paying attention to a lot on the season. I called it yesterday with Al Horford, and he ended up being rested. Roby and Mccollum got a lot of value. But just got to be wary. I mean, today we got Boston on a back-to-back, and then we have the Clippers on a back-to-back. I think that those are and Milwaukee and Miami are playing each other again. But I don't know how I feel about that game. I liked them last night, the Miami guys, but they got destroyed. But it could be different because Milwaukee might come out and try to rest even some of their guys. I could see even Giannis getting rested for some reason, but he didn't play much that first game either. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye out on. Some value might open up there if Giannis doesn't play. And then Miami, Butler might play. So if Giannis plays and Butler plays, I will be interested in the game. But as of right now, we don't know what's going to happen. So for now, I'm going to be avoiding it. I'm going to be avoiding that game. Probably avoid some Clippers. But if Kawhi plays, should be interesting. Might be a good game if Kawhi plays because he didn't play the first game of the back-to-back. And then who else? Boston. Boston, they have a lot of young players, so I don't think they rest a lot of their players. I could see them maybe resting like their centers or something, but for the most part, I think Brown and Smart and Tatum just play a back-to-back, maybe just a couple less minutes. But they are young, so we'll see about that one. But let's get to it. We got point guards. We got Luka. Up top, 10.7. If I could pay up for him, I would like to get to him. But right now, we don't have much value until somebody gets, some news breaks, which will probably happen tomorrow. But I do like Luka. If I was to pay up for any of these guys up here, anyone 8.9 and higher, I'd probably want to get to Luka. But as of right now, like I said, we don't know what it's going to be looking like. So we'll just wait on that one. But I do have interest in him. 7.9 Mccollum has been a beast this year. He had 36 in the first game, 66, and then 50. He's been looking really good. 50 fantasy points per game. He averaged he's taking a ton of threes. He had 16 in this game, 11 in that one. This is another game where I could see it being high scoring and really competitive. If Kawhi plays, even if Kawhi doesn't play, it should be competitive. But if Kawhi plays, it'll be a really good game, especially for the late night guys. A lot of people might be sleeping on it, drifting towards these other players over here. But it could be an interesting game for sure. Levert, not really too interested. Kyrie and Durant are back. Rozier and Devontae Graham aren't bad plays. They're going against Dallas. Should be a good game. We have some good games on the slate, honestly. It could be interesting. But I do prefer somebody else from Charlotte as of right now. At least as of right now, I do prefer somebody else. Keep scrolling down. We got Dejante Murray at 6.1. I am interested in him at 6.1. He's not one of my favorite core plays right now, but I do like him at that price tag. He came down 700 from his last game. I know he didn't play as good in that game, but it was the second game of a back-to-back. Just had a good game against Toronto, put up that triple-double. I do like him in this matchup as well, especially we are seeing that LeBron, I think, is questionable. Let's look at him. LeBron is questionable for the game. And obviously, I feel like they're finding excuses just to find ways to rest these guys on back-to-backs. Obviously, I saw him tweak his ankle as well, but they're going to take full advantage of these kind of things to rest these guys. And I honestly think he sits in this game. So if he does sit, the game might be more competitive, and I do like Dejante Murray more. I like him more if LeBron sits. I like him less if he doesn't. It's kind of like a hit or miss kind of. But we'll have to wait and see. And that is the second to last game, so hopefully we have the news before 5:30 or before lock at least. Scrolling down, Tyus Jones isn't a bad play, obviously, with Ja Morant out. That's going to be interesting if you do decide to go that way. It doesn't get a huge bump. I was looking at the usage bumps with with John Moran out, it's usually just Dylan Brooks and Jonas. D'Anthony Melton is out. These two guys get the biggest bump. Those are two of the guys that I'm really interested right now. But Tyus Jones isn't a bad play for 5.2. He does have upside. He had some big games last season, but it's not the way I'm looking right now as of now, at least. Maybe if I really needed a cheaper guy, I would go to him. Like if I didn't want to play Brooks or J-Val, but I wanted a piece of that game, Tyus Jones would be the way I go. Just not. I don't have the most faith in him, at least. Scrolling down. Not really too interested in none of these guys. Kendrick Nunn, maybe. He had a huge game today. Well, he had not a huge game, but he got run just because obviously they were getting destroyed. But so keep an eye out on the Butler news, obviously. None down here I'm too interested. Looks like Rondo might play. Oh, he did play that. Well, he played last time. Nice. 3.7. Rondo might not be the worst play at that price. I mean, he's gonna have a lot of usage when he's on the court. He likes to have the ball in his hand. For 3.7, he was 3.9 last time, and he came down. And I could see him playing a couple more minutes in this game, especially being a competitive game. Maybe like 20 minutes. He could be a sneaky value play if you do decide. And then obviously Desmond Bane, the backup, he's going to be Tyus Jones' backup. So if you don't want to play Jones, you want to play like a different play, Desmond Bane will probably be the way you want to go. Shooting guard, we got Paul George, 8.5. I played him a little bit tonight, and he wasn't the best. Obviously, they won by a lot too, though. CJ McCollum, 7.9, mentioned him. I don't mind him. That's a nice price. I'd rather play him over like Brown, LeVert, Rozier. But the first guy I do want to talk about is obviously Dylan Brooks, which I am going to be plugging in. Shooting guard and small forward eligible. 32% usage with John Moran at 1.05 fantasy points per game or per minute. Gets a 7.2% usage bump with John Morant off the court, which is huge. I mean, he looked good in that other game. This should be kind of more competitive. I would be a little more worried if it was the first game of the back-to-back for Boston, but it is the second game. And just the way teams have been playing, I kind of think that they might do something like resting somebody or just play less minutes. And these guys should come in fired up, especially after winning their last game. I think they're going to come in with some confidence. And they have some good players. I mean, Brooks is good. Kyle Anderson, Brandon Clark, J-Val, obviously. They got some good players. So I think they could keep the game competitive for the most part to where Brooks can get a full allotment of minutes. The only knock on Brooks, and if you didn't want to play him, I would understand, is his personal fouls. He's always in foul trouble. First two games, got fouled out. The third game, he got 5 fouls, and he actually could have probably played like 40 minutes, but he missed out on at least like 4 to 5 minutes in the fourth quarter because they pulled him when he got his 5th foul. So that's his biggest knock, honestly. He could lose run if he gets 2 early fouls, and I've seen it a lot. Going back to last year, I played him last year a good amount, and he'd get in foul trouble, and it was the most frustrating thing. So just a heads up, if you don't want to play him, I understand. You could play Jones or Anderson, obviously, or J-Val. But I do like Dylan Brooks as of right now. I'll take my chances on him. DFS is kind of a game of chances. You got to take shots, you know. Keldon Johnson, 5.7 is not a bad play. Should be a interesting game for sure. Obviously, the injury news are important. Tyler Hero had a good game. Even with them getting blown out, he still played 33 minutes. I'm pretty sure he plays tonight too or tomorrow. He's young. He won't probably need that rest. And hopefully Jimmy Butler plays. Makes the game much more competitive and exciting to watch as well, because that was a snooze fest, honestly. Joe Harris, you got DiVincenzo. None of those guys I'm super interested in. None of these guys. Kennard, if Kawhi doesn't start, you could play him, but I'm not too interested. Herder's been looking pretty decent. He looked good in the first 2 games, but then Rondo came, and he kind of took some of that like point guard duties away from him, so probably not too interested. Cam Reddish started this last game, 4.4. Maybe if Gallinari's out, he wouldn't be a bad value play. Avery Bradley looked good in this game. He had like 14 points. He looked solid. He had like 25, 26 fantasy points. He was I think I played him in the lineup. He was like 3.2 if I remember correctly. But 4K still not a bad price tag. Only if Butler's out. I think he would have played more if the game was more competitive. I think that's really it. I mentioned Bane. Maybe Grayson Allen if you decide to go even more different than everybody else. Does have that 3-point upside. Let's go over to small forward. We got LeBron up top. Obviously, we're still waiting on those news. Could change a lot of things. Obviously, open up guys like Kuzma as well. If LeBron doesn't play, I assume Kuzma starts. And Kuzma looked good in that game without AD. He played 29 minutes, and they blew him out. He probably would have played like 33, 34 minutes, and he looked solid. At 5.9, it's not a bad price tag if LeBron is out, because he will take a ton more shots. A ton. Let's keep going. Tatum's not a bad play. Middleton's not too bad. Obviously, he lost a lot of run because they blew him out, but if the game stays competitive, he would have had a monster game. But the next guy I want to talk about is Gordon Hayward, and a game that I think will be competitive. He's been looking really good. 36, 35, 36 minutes in the first 3. I think he's like an 8K guy. I think he should be priced closer to 8K. He's a little underpriced for what he's been doing. Points, rebounds, assists. He's just been playing really solid. Finally, he's playing with I feel like he's playing with less pressure on this team. And he's just kind of doing what he used to do when he was playing with Utah and stuff like that. So I do like Gordon Hayward a good amount. One of my favorite plays on the slate. I'm looking to go more balanced right now just because there is no value. So you will see a lot of the guys are mid-price. I'm not really paying up for anybody crazy right now. But like I did mention, I would like Luka. Maybe AD if LeBron sits out. But as of right now, I'm just going a little more balanced. Jaylen Brown, I mentioned him. Oh, look, the next guy I want to talk about, 6.9K, DeMar DeRozan. Super underpriced. I just think he's too underpriced. I played him in this slate. I played him in all 3 slates. He was amazing the first 2. Played him in the 3rd game, and I even had a feeling that I shouldn't have. I did mention him in the core 4, but just knowing it was a back-to-back, I feel like Popovich is one of those guys that is smart about it, and I should have known that was going to come. He still had 10 assists. He only had 8 points. He still put up 28 on a back-to-back. This is the first game of a back-to-back, and I do think they play the Lakers again on their second back-to-back. They're going to play the Lakers twice back-to-back, so I think he plays more in the first game again and then plays a little less in the second game. So we'll see how that goes. But I do like DeRozan as of right now. I like Kyle Anderson at 6K. You can kind of play 2 or more Memphis guys, and it wouldn't even be a bad idea, honestly. Even up to 3, and 3 wouldn't be a bad idea if you really want to go that way. But as of right now, like I said, I like the upside on DeRozan and Hayward for sure. But I don't have an issue with Anderson. I don't have an issue with Kuzma or Keldon Johnson. Kuzma mainly if AD or LeBron is out usually. Don't really want to play him when they're in. Deandre Hunter hasn't been a bad play at 4.9. He's getting 32 minutes. This game he lost from because they blew him out. But at 32 minutes, he can't be a bad play at 4.9. He has upside at that price tag. Clint Capella's back, though, so he is going to be missing on the rebound opportunities. And if he's not getting rebounds, he's just like a point guy. And I don't know. He has to score a ton of points just to hit that value. Kind of like a Duncan Robinson or like a Joe Harris kind of guy. But he's priced around there with those guys all the time as well. Dorian Finney-Smith, 4.5, hasn't been bad. Other than the last game, which he lost run because they blew him out by 90 points or whatever it was. I know it wasn't 90. It was like 50, but still. Not a bad play. Avery Bradley at 4K. It's not bad. Iguodala is going to play tonight or tomorrow, 3.2. He didn't play in the first game. 3.2 could be a decent value for sure if Butler doesn't play. But let's get over to power forward. We got Giannis, 10.8, another stud that's really good to play up for on any given night. Tonight wasn't the night because he got destroyed, but could be better in this game if Butler plays. Anthony Davis, I like him a lot at 9.7 if LeBron doesn't play. If LeBron doesn't play, I like him a lot better than all these guys up here. Probably even more than 8. Luka as well. None of these guys really interest me. Kyle Anderson, I like. I like Kyle Kuzma, obviously, I mentioned. PJ Washington seems a little underpriced at 5.4. He's going to play 30 minutes a game, and he is kind of filling in that center position role sometimes too. And he just has good upside at that price tag. Really good upside in a game that I think is going to be really competitive and high scoring. So 5.4 PJ Washington's not the worst. Not a bad play. Brandon Clark might get some extra run. He played good in that first game without Ja. He looks solid at 5.1. It's a good way to be different than everybody else. Nicholas Batum got priced up. Bobby Portis could get run if Giannis sits for this game. If they rest him for this game, I could see him getting a ton of run. He's already looking good with 26 minutes. You bump that guy up to 32 minutes, he's going to be a really amazing play at 4.6. Probably the best value on the slate if Giannis doesn't play. Nothing down here that really interests me too much. But I think that's it at power forward. It's not really that deep at the power forward position. But center, I got 2 of the guys that I like at both positions right here. So, and then center position, you got Giannis. Obviously, I mentioned him. I mentioned Davis. But J-Val's the guy I'm going to plug in as of right now, 7.7. Amazing play. We saw what he gets, 1.48 fantasy points per minute when Jaws off the court. If I give him for like 32, 33 minutes, he's going to beat that price tag really good. And he has huge upside. I've seen him hit 50, 60 easily. And like I said, Boston's on the second game of back-to-back, so that could give him an advantage in that game with some of their centers, playing tonight. They don't play a ton of minutes, so they do balance it out fairly well. But I'm hoping J-Val gets like 32 minutes. The issue with him is sometimes he just doesn't get the minutes, and that's kind of problematic with him. But we'll see how that goes. Boston likes to keep a big guy on the court for most of the time, whether it's Tice or Thompson, so that could benefit him as well. Nurkic is underpriced, but he just hasn't been performing well. He's underpriced for what we know he can do, so he'd be a good tournament play if he gets the minutes. Marcus Aldridge has been losing run to Jakob Poeltl. PJ Washington, like I mentioned, I don't mind him at 5.4 as well. Biyombo at 4.8. He's going to get like 30 minutes. Not a bad play, I guess, but there's other guy. I think I'd rather just get up to PJ Washington at that point. At the center position, at least. But I think that's it, guys. That's my core four. I really like Dylan Brooks. I like Hayward. I like DeRozan, J-Val. Make sure you get over to the Discord in the description. It's free. Just get in there, and I will update my picks if they do change any given day, time of the day before 5:30 at least, or before lock. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.